Hey everyone, it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I will warn you, it is a little bit more on the intermediate side, maybe even tiptoeing into advanced. We are going to be creating this Rattan Cane pattern completely in Silhouette Studio. So I am going to show you how you can create this entire pattern from scratch and set it up to whatever size you'd like. Now this is going to use Silhouette Studio. Now keep in mind, to use this with Glowforge, you do have to have the business edition upgrade. Totally worth it in my opinion. It's linked in the description. It's a one-time fee, not a subscription, and then you have it forever. And that will allow you to export as an SVG. So I'm going to show you how to make this, and as you're watching, I just want to let you know that I am going to provide this base file for you on my website. You can purchase it, and I'll link it below. So I want you to be able at the end of this video to feel empowered to create your own design. But hey, if you like this and you don't want to put the work into it, I have your back too. So we're going to do this. So if you're watching and you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate if you would, and turn on the bell so you don't miss any more uploads. If you're not following me on my social media, check me out. I put a lot of content there as well. And if you want to get a Glowforge of your very own, you can use the link in the description to save up to $500 on a new machine. Alright guys, so this is going to be a very design heavy tutorial. I'm going to go very quickly through the end product because the point is for me to show you how I do this rattan cane look. So there's a lot of people out there doing this. I am by no means the expert on it. I just saw some pictures and thought, hey, I could probably figure that out in Silhouette Studio. So make sure you check out some other creators. I thought that this looked pretty good, but you can always modify it how you want. And I'll also link it in the description if you want to buy the file from me. So I noticed with the Rattan Cane pattern, the inside looks like an octagon. So we can very easily make that in Silhouette Studio by going over to the left side of our screen and hovering over the rectangle. The rectangle, if you hover over, will give you this shape tool right here that looks like a pentagon. You're going to click that, and then your mouse is going to change into little crosshairs. If you click and drag out, we have the base of our shape done. Okay, so I'm not holding down the mouse, but now I will. So click, and then this slider will adjust how many sides it has. So we want it to have 8 sides, and then I am going to rotate this so it's kind of more straight. Okay, so we have that set right there. We don't need to make any more adjustments. We don't have to add sides or take away sides. So we're just going to right click and convert to path. The reason why we're doing that is we're basically telling the software, hey, this is just a shape. We don't need to make any modifications to it. All right, so now I'm going to set this up, kind of the size that we're going to work with. So the way I'm doing this is that we are going to resize our shape and then just add patterns to it. We are not going to make our octagon any bigger or smaller from this. Now you can adjust as you see fit. You might want a smaller pattern or a bigger pattern, but in my test runs, I've been really happy with what I've done for here. So you're gonna select it right here, go to your top. This is the quick access toolbar. This is how I'm going to resize it. And I'm just going to resize it to 1/4 inch, which is 0.25. Hit enter, and obviously it's a lot smaller. So we're going to zoom in and get it done right there. So this is the inside line. We need to set up the outside, kind of the offset of this. So we're going to click on our shape and go to our offset panel on the right. It's going to be the star with the offset around it. And then you are going to choose offset. We're going to make a line off the outside of it, not the inside. So offset. And then we can put in our distance right here. You can see there's 0.01 right now. We are going to set this to 0.125, which is 1/8 of an inch. So it looks big and bulky, but that's actually what we're looking for because it needs to kind of sit and blend with our other shapes. So we're going to take both of these right here, right click, and make compound path. We are basically creating this as one shape. It's a ring, so let's fill it in black. So that's our ring shape right there. So now we need to start building out our pattern. So we're going to take this, and normally I do my favorite tool, my favorite shortcut, which is to hold down the Alt button and click and drag. But I'm actually going to go over here to the right side to the replicate panel and duplicate this way. So you can see we can duplicate to the right. We can do a row of 4. So let's go ahead and do row of 4. And what's nice is they're just barely not touching. They're really close to touching. So I'm going to take this and just do 2 little taps on my keyboard so that they're just right there. So you want them barely overlapping. We can test to make sure by going like this, highlighting all of them by clicking and dragging and welding. So you can see those aren't overlapping, so I'm just gonna let go. And actually, let me go back because I want to keep one to the side real quick. So I just went to my multiple undo up here. It looks like a recycling symbol. And I'm going to hit this one right here, edit. So it'll go to that step. So it undid my weld. So I'm going to do my favorite command. Hold the Alt button, click and drag. And we'll move that over to the side. So this will be something that we can pull from for later. But we're going to take all of these and just bring it over just a hair so that they overlap like this. And I'm just using my arrows to do that. And we can make sure that they're just touching by taking all of them like this, grabbing all of them, go to your align in the top here, and then respace horizontally. So now I know that they're perfectly separated. So I'm not going to weld them quite yet because I want to kind of build up my pattern and go from there. So I'm going to grab all these there, go back to my replicate panel, and then I'm going to duplicate below. So you can see we have it like that. And just like before, I'm going to use my little arrow keys to bring that up. So before we go and duplicate it too much, we want to do these inside squares that you see that connected. So we're going to draw the square, and it's the same process. We're just going to draw the shape and make an offset. So we're going to take our rectangle tool, we're going to hover over that shape tool that we were using and choose rectangle tool. So we're going to hold down shift and click and drag. This will allow us to create a perfect square. So shift, click, drag. And then we are going to make this 0.066 inches wide. There's no like set formula or rhyme or reason. I literally just tested a bunch of these, and this is the setting, like these are the sizes that I liked the best. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do an offset, but of course this one is not going to be as big. So we're going to do offset, do 0.08, and then hit enter. So you can see it looks like really weird, but it's going to work. So we're going to take this, do Control E to make it a compound path, and then I'm going to hold down the Alt button, click and drag, and make my copy over there. Oops. So now let's fill this in a color so we can see it better. We're going to center this in our shape. And it's going to look like really weird right here, but don't forget we get a little bit of shrinkage when we cut with our laser, so that factors it in. So I'm going to click Alt drag, Alt drag, Alt drag. So this one I'm going to add to the end because when we add more to it, we want to have that square already set. So now we're just adjusting to center it within these shapes. I'm just using my arrow tools. And now that I think it's good on this side, I'm going to hold down shift and grab these. I'm just holding down shift and clicking on those. And I'm going to use this align panel right here to align them in the middle just to make sure they're even. And then we'll nudge it like that. So I know this one's going to be too far out because you can see this space is way bigger. Okay, so now we're going to hold shift again, shift, click, 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 Alt, bring this down. And that's our base to start with, okay? So this is what I'm going to leave you with so you can build it up as you want. So I'm not going to weld any of these. I'm just going to leave it just like this so you can build it how you like. So what I recommend doing is taking this, hitting Control G or right click G to group it, and then work off of that. I'm going to make a copy so I have that for later. And now I'm going to build out the shape that I'm going to do. So let's say you want to do another pattern. You literally will take this, go to your replicate, bring this down, and you can see it's going to go further. Oops, that was weird. It's going to go further because you have those squares there. So you're just going to take it and use your arrow keys to bring it up. You can also just do the alt trick that I was showing you before and click and drag. Either way totally works. Okay, so you see we have that there. And then let's go ahead and replicate it to the right. So this is why we did the squares on this side. It connects that copy we made over there. So we're just bringing that in. And it's going to look a little bit weird because we have the line color turned on. Right now I have the line color turned on because I want to be able to see the difference in the shapes. But if I were to take all of this, highlight it, and turn off the line color, you see how you can see that pattern now? I'm just hitting Control Z. So you can see we have this about 4 inches wide. So if you wanted to build it larger, you can go ahead and just replicate it again and then use your arrow key. So the reason why I am going to give you a small base is because it's much easier, in my opinion, to kind of make copies and line them up than having to teach you how to release compound path and work from there. Now, if you are an experienced Silhouette Studio user, then I recommend making a big pattern like this and then releasing compound path and building it how you want. But for the sake of simplicity and starting off small so you can make it whatever you want, this is what we're doing. So we're gonna go right here. Let's go ahead, replicate it below. So now you can see as I'm going, I'm picking up bigger groups and replicating so I can set up a larger design faster. All right, so let's bring that up. All right, so let's see how big this design is. So now we're looking at 4 inches tall and almost 8 inches wide. So let's make one more copy. And I'm going to zoom in. And don't forget, the copy is because we have those squares on the bottom. Okay, you can see that overlapping. Ignore that, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so we have this set right here. So if you're happy with this and you think you're gonna do a lot of stuff this size, I would recommend making a copy and moving it to the side. That's me doing that right now. All right, and so now I'm gonna take this, grab that, and now we can weld it. So this might take a second because we're welding a ton of shapes right now. Oh no, I'm already done. And then let's go ahead and make the line color black so we can really see what this looks like. Now, keep in mind, you may be thinking, Lisa, you're crazy. This is too bulky. Don't forget, we do have shrinkage from the laser, so that is factoring it in. You know how I know? Because I made it smaller and then I was like, wow, this is not good. This is not what I'm looking for. Okay, so we have this set right here. So we're gonna make probably like a little hello world circle sign because that's what's popular right now. So let's go over to the tool that we've been drawing our shapes with, and now we are going to make a circle. So we made our circle just like before. Shift, click and drag to get our perfect circle. And for the sake of seeing what I'm doing, I'm going to fill this in right now. Okay, so this is 5.267. This is like 5 right here. Now this depends on what you want to do. If you're going to do this in like a set, I have found that 3.5 inch circles is the best size because you can fit an entire like 1 month to 1 year on a board. But we're gonna make this a little bit larger and we're gonna make it for a different sign just because I want you to see more of it. Okay, so we have this, we'll just do it 7 inches wide. Okay, so we have this set right here. So now we have a couple steps that we need to take. And so this is going to be a little bit confusing. Please remember, you can watch this over and over again. You can slow it down. You can email me. You can message me on Instagram, or you can comment on this video. I'm very, very happy to help. This will take practice, but I think you're going to get it, okay? I think you'll be fine. So what we are aiming to do now is we want this circle to have the rattan pattern. However, we need a border to kind of frame it in. So we can't have the rattan pattern go all the way to the edges here because it's going to look like a weird waffle. All right. So we need to make borders for that. So we're going to take this and start off with our normal offset. So we're going to open the offset panel. However, we have been making lines off the outside. We now need to make them off the inside. So we're going to do an internal offset, and let's see what 0.125 looks. 1/8 of an inch is always my typical standard. For something this large, you may want to go up to 0.25, which is 1/4 of an inch. So that's up to you. So I'm looking at an example right next to me that's 1/8 of an inch. And I'm happy with it. Let me split the difference and do let's just do 0.125. No, I'm changing my mind. No. Let's do 0.18. It's a random number. That's what I'm going with for the sake of this, okay? So now this is our inside. And so this circle we just made is going to be used to trim our rattan, but we also need to use this circle to kind of join everything. So we're going to, it's going to take a couple steps, but let me zoom in a little bit. So remember how I've done Alt a couple times? Well, you can also use Alt to make a copy without dragging it. So I'm holding down Alt, A-L-T, clicking one time, and you want to make sure before you press Alt, you have your mouse over your internal offset. Press Alt, your mouse should change to a plus sign. Click one time. Oh, I made a copy of that circle. That's not what I wanted. Okay, so I clicked on that, and I held Alt, and I clicked on that little circle. The way I know that I made a copy was that red line got darker. I'm hitting Control Z. Another way you can do it is by literally changing the color of it so you know it's there. Hold down Alt, click. So now there are two in there. You can tell because that red line is slightly darker. So whenever you make a copy or do something, the item you modified or created last is what remains selected in your workspace. So you can see that gray box is around that internal offset. So I'm going to keep it like that. Hold down Shift and click on that pattern. Okay, so now I need to crop the pattern to the shape of this internal circle. Don't forget, the green you see here is going to be the border, and the circle in like the weird brown gray is going to be what we're cropping it to. So we're going to take, we have both selected. You can see this square and a little bit this square. Go to your modify panel on the right. Right, so that's going to be your square and circle, and we are going to hit crop. Now this is a big shape, so this might take a minute to do, okay? Cool. So now you can see we have our circle in there, and so we have it right here. So here's the thing: we need to be able to, have this cut out. All right. So now this gets you might say this whole thing is tricky, but now what we need to do is we need to start making some openings in here. So we have this layer on top, on bottom, we have this on top, and then we have this middle layer. So what we're looking for next is we need to take, oh shoot, goodness. We need to basically make this green part look like this ring for now, but we still have to do more modifications. So we're gonna go over and hit Alt and click on this circle again, which is what we want. Hold down Shift. Hold down Shift, click on this back circle, and subtract. Okay, so we have our ring there, and we have our rattan shape right there. Now, one thing that could get tricky is we should be able to weld this, but because this is the exact same size of this circle, it may not weld clean, and let me show you what I mean. So I grab both of those. So see this? No, we don't want that. So I'm gonna hit Control Z. And now we're going to take our circle, this circle right here, and I'm gonna make a very, very small offset. Very small. So offset, We'll do 0.01, enter. So it's not changing the size of our shape very much, and hit apply. The reason why we are doing this is we need to create an overlap right here so we can weld our rattan shape onto our object. So we're gonna grab all of this here and weld. Check it out. Okay, so we have this set right here. So this is our basic shape. So now we can take our circle. I'm gonna right click. No, I'm not gonna right click. I'm gonna grab both of these right here and center it like that. So now you can see it's over like this. And if I were to take my green shape, send it to the back, you can see the circles on top. So let me just change the line color to like black, whatever, and then take off the fill so you can see what we're doing. Okay, so, oh, I didn't mean to do that. So basically we made all these circles to kind of set up the design, and then this different line color right here in the black will be scored on there to kind of frame it. Now you could also choose to do a piece on top, and if that's the case, let me show you how to do that. I'm gonna move this to the side, Alt, click and drag to make a copy. So if you want to do like a freestanding piece on top here, it's gonna look scary for a second, but we're gonna get it. We're gonna take our bottom piece, right click, release compound path. What this is doing is it's breaking apart all of our shapes and making them into individual objects. So see how every circle in there has a square around it? Now we want to get rid of all of that. We only want to keep the outside of this part of it. So the way that you can select multiple objects is to hold shift. Conversely, if you have multiple objects selected and you want to deselect something, you hold shift and it will deselect what you click. So we're going to use that to our advantage right here to deselect this outside circle and then delete. So now we have this circle on top and this circle on bottom. So you can either take this circle and subtract, or my favorite thing to do is to drag over, right click, make compound path. Okay, so now we have, you know, like this blue color. I know these colors are atrocious, but that's what we're working with. Okay, so we can do it on top like this 3D look. So I'm gonna leave this to the side because I'm not actually going to use it for this. Okay, so now all we have to do is like do the little circle part for whatever message you're going to do. So I'm gonna do another circle. Hold down shift, click and drag. I'm gonna fill it in red. Oh no, that's too bright. I cannot. So now you can take it. Let's grab everything like this, center it like that, and we can figure out how big we want it to be. So if I want to make this larger but off the center, I'm gonna do my Alt button again, Alt drag, and so now we have this right here. So we need to set this up to kind of work to our advantage. So just for out of habit, I'm gonna hold down Alt, click without dragging, so I can make a copy. That way I have one in case I mess something up. Hold down shift, click on your back rattan pattern, and weld. So look, we already have that opening right there. I'm gonna hit this button up here to send it back. You can also right click, send to back like this. Okay, so then you have your circle like this that you can also make a score line to work off of that. Let me look over here. Don't forget, we'll probably have a little bit of shrinkage. So what I would do is I would take this circle, hold down Alt, and ever so slightly drag it in like one click, like that. Okay, so that way you can see this tiny little line there. Don't forget, we're gonna get shrinkage. Okay, so it's going to get a little bit tricky, but we're gonna make it through. So now to make it easier to see what we're doing, let's go ahead and change some colors. So we're gonna make this look tan, like it really is. And then we're also going to take off the color on this, but change the line color to black. So I want both my score lines to be black like this, and then my cut line to be red. Okay, and now we can just do a little message in here. So we can do hello world for a baby. We can do something else. So I'm trying to think in my mind something that's not hello world, because it's just like baby stuff all the time. We don't need it. Okay, I'll be done by the time you watch this, but you can vote in here what you would like to do. So you know what? I'm going to do what I do a lot of times. I'm going to do Soli Deo Gloria. So do Soli. I'm going to do a tried and true font. I'm sure you've seen it a million times. I bet you can guess what it's going to be. I bet you can guess what it's going to be. If you guessed Medina Clean, you are correct. So let's fill this in like a brown so I can really visualize it. So Soli Deo. Actually, we'll do that on the same line. And if you're wondering, Soli Deo Gloria is a common phrase within the Christian faith. It comes from the 5 solas of the Reformation, and it means glory to God alone. So we'll do our Soli Deo, and then we'll do our Gloria down here. All right, so we're gonna kind of, oops, no. Don't want to hit that back one. All right, so we're gonna grab both of these, hold down Shift, grab that. And let's extend this out. And I'm happy with this, so I'm going to right click, weld. So we have that welded there. And then I'm going to right click again, make compound path. So this is one big object. So I'm all set with that. And now I'm just gonna grab my entire design like this, use my center align one more time. And now I'm set to go. And sometimes because this font leans to the right, you might want to just bump it over a little bit anyway. So it's technically centered when I did that, but it did look off. Okay, so we want to make sure every function is a different line color. So we have red for our cut, black for our score, and then for this engrave, we're going to make it a totally different line color. Let's make it green. Okay, so we're all good to go. I'm going to select this design. I'm going to go to File, Save Selection, save it to hard drive, and save it as an SVG. So we're going to go ahead. I'll show you how I set this up in my Glowforge software, and then I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so my design is uploading into here. So you can see it's all in red dotted lines because there are no functions selected. So before I do anything else, I'm going to hit these 3 dots here, set focus, and hit the middle of my board. This will help my camera figure out how far away my material is, and it makes it a lot easier. If you guys watch me often, you may notice that my board is masked. You may know that I hate masking. However, in this instance, it actually works out really well because you have so many little holes that you don't want to have to mess with all that stuff. So I'm going to take this and set this up in the top corner so I can save as much material as I can of the masked side. And then I'm going to set up my functions. So I'm going to drag this right here to the top. This is going to be my score, my engrave, and my cut. Personally, I always like cutting last, so I always do that, and then before I do my score and engrave. So I'm going to choose my settings. I'm going to do score. I'm going to do birch mask. I programmed this. So 200 precision power 30. Another thing, if you are not following me on Instagram, I highly recommend it. I've been making graphics with my settings and adding them to my Instagram story to kind of help you guys. So I have them up there for you. So we'll do engrave, we'll do birch, and so again, I programmed this, speed 500, power 50, and then cut, we're going to do birch right here, again, programmed 160 full power. All right, so we're all set right here. Let's hit print. This will probably take quite a while because there are a lot of holes, and we have a decent sized engraving area, so let's see how it goes. Really, I'm just talking right now to stall, so we'll see. Right, so 22 minutes. So let's go ahead and do that, and I will see you with the finished product. Alright, so here is our finished product. This is about a 7-inch circle using the, oh, it was upside down, the Rattan Cane Pattern. So basically what you should be able to get from this video is how you can set up this pattern and then make whatever sign you'd like. this is something that I like, but you're open to do whatever you want. So don't forget, if the pattern is a little bit too hard to get down, I do have it linked in the description. You can buy it from my website. I'll basically give you the starter and you'll follow the instructions on how to replicate it. But I'm really excited about this. I'm going to make a set of smaller month markers with this that I think will look really nice, and I hope that you guys are able to make something cool from this as well. So if you like this video, please go ahead and like it, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and if you're not following me on Instagram already, I would really love to see you there. I do a lot of behind the scenes and I just love interacting with you guys on that platform. And if you're finally here and you're thinking, hey, it's time for me to get a Glowforge of my own, you can check out the link in the description to save up to $500 on a new machine.